Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of this week's MMA Huddle. You're joined by myself and Big Willie style. And we just want to say, first and foremost, thank you for listening. If you're looking forward to the breakdown of the upcoming UFC Singapore card, Maia versus Askren, we'll be breaking that down shortly. And of course, at the end, we'll have Will's bets. So tune in for all of that. In the meantime, hit that subscribe button, give us a subscribe, join us on the journey, and also in the comments below, let us know your picks, what fights you're looking forward to, and also if you have any bets. Great community on there, great group of people, so we look forward to hearing from you all. We'll just quickly go back to the week before. Not a good Friday night for Chris Weidman. It's not looking good. Him and Rockhold, they did some stats with the pair of them. Not very good since they last fought. When they last fought each other, the pair of them have had a rough ride. Man, what do you think of Weidman at the moment? Well, obviously, Reyes, kudos to him, performance, but from a Weidman perspective, what do you think?
I just think it's the end of the run for these fighters that were dominant 4 or 5 years ago. So I just think it's the transition in it, the new realm of fighters. Pretty much, these guys have taken a lot of damage. Rockhold's chin's gone. Weidman's chin's gone. I think they both kind of hurt each other. The weight cut, I think, ultimately got to Rockhold, and I think just the wear and tear on Chris Weidman is completely blasting him out. So, yeah, it's a shame to see, but it's what happens with this sport. If you stick around too long, you get hurt, and you get found out, then every fighter will start to go after that. So, like I said, I hope there's some fights they can put him in where he's not facing these kind of heavy power hitters. Because I've always been a big fan of Weidman. I like him as a guy. I think he's a really top, solid guy. But I think his run as a high-end MMA guy is long gone now. So, yeah, but I hope a couple more fights, but just reasonable kind of fights for him.
Yeah, I was surprised to put him with Reyes. I would have thought they would have given him someone a bit more comfortable in that weight class. Someone kind of on the around the 10 mark, ranked 10, kind of around that area. But also, Latifi announced he's going to go up to heavyweight, by the way. Thinking about, like... The dude's about 2 foot tall. So that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy who they match him up there with. Because he is, like, when you meet him, he's like so small, but he's like one of the widest guys I've ever seen. He's so stacked to the sides, it's not even funny. So, but yeah, it's like I say, this moving up. It started off okay where the fighters were kind of adapting, but I think some of these older guys are struggling to kind of adapt them. Plus, it's a big jump going from 185 to 205. It's that £20 gap.
Yeah, it's £20 gap, yeah.
Yeah, where the guys that can definitely not make 185, they're going to 205. So it's the 205 guys are big and they hit hard. So we're starting to kind of find out a little bit more with these guys moving up. So yeah.
It was interesting, and obviously there's lots going on in the MMA world, not just in the UFC. You've got the $1 million fight going on this weekend as well with Roy McDonald and Douglas Lima, so that's going to be interesting. Frank Mir is fighting Roy Nelson. Yeah, that's happening still. So yeah, there is lots of interesting fights. Cage Warriors as well. We've got a fight card on in Birmingham, so look out for that. Jai Herbert is a potential UK British talent to get signed up to the UFC, maybe with another win. If he gets a win here, defends the belt, maybe another fight, you never know, but they might wait till March and hopefully he tries to get signed up on the London card, which we're sure will all happen anyway, the London UFC card.
It's a good time for him to actually fight in October, because like I say, if they're going to have this yearly, like it has been the last few years in London, it kind of lines up perfect for him if he gets through this title defence here. So, but I'm looking forward to the Cage Warriors card. I'm looking forward to watching that on the Sunday morning afterwards. So yeah.
There's some good fights. So we're going to jump now into this card, UFC Singapore, Maia and Askren. But let's go down to the bottom and work our way up, Will. So down at the bottom we have, kicking off the card, a couple of small lads, Jeff Hughes against Pessoa Nunes. Will, kick us off with your interpretation of what's going to happen here.
Yeah, just looking at it kind of straight off the bat, I think that I'm kind of favouring the durability of Jeff Hughes. I think that he can... He's one of these big kind of burly heavyweights. I don't think he's great in really any aspects, but I think he's very durable. I think he's tough. I think he can take a shot. Where someone like Pessoa, I think he's very aggressive, very open to getting countered, and can kind of get beat up a little bit. Where Jeff Hughes can maybe deliver that kind of beating as well. Like I say, Pessoa, I don't really know where he's got a huge huge kind of gap here, like over Jeff Hughes. And I just like the durability of Jeff Hughes. I think he's more durable. I think he'll get off more strikes. I think he can kind of dictate where the fight goes. I think if it goes to ground, he can handle him down there. Even though Pessoa's a supposed black belt, even though he got submitted by Cyril Gane last time. So yeah, I've got Jeff Hughes fairly dominantly here. I don't think he might not stop him, but I think he can win a fairly clear decision if he doesn't stop him. So I've got Jeff Hughes.
Yeah, Pessoa's got a powerful right hand, but it's only because he kind of swings it from the bleachers. You know, there's not a lot of technical ability, he just swings it heavy. Jeff Hughes actually got all right footwork. He's actually kind of sprite on his feet. He's got not bad movement. All I think for Jeff Hughes to win this fight is keep his technical ability there, because he's actually not a bad technical fighter for a heavyweight. Keep that left hand up to just negate the power right that Pessoa's going to do. And if anything, come in with your combination, get out on an angle or close the distance and clinch just to stop Pessoa throwing the big right. That's pretty much his only weapon on the feet that I've seen in the fights that I've watched of him. I can't really see much else that he offers. He's a bit heavy set. I think he's a little bit heavier than Jeff, but Jeff seems to manage okay with the heavy set guys anyway. I think on a lot of the underhook battles on the cage is going to be a big thing in this fight. I think if Jeff Hughes can just grind Nunes down a little bit on the cage, I think he'll have a better conditioning, better endurance for the 3 rounds. I think Hughes should be able to get it. Hughes does take a hit sometimes. He does show he's got good chin. I think Nunes can just get picked apart for the 3 rounds. I think Hughes is just an overall kind of stronger all-round fighter. As long as he doesn't get hit by that big right hand by Nunes, he should be cushy. Next up we have in the strawweight division, a lady making a debut, coming over from Invicta, is Loma Lookboonmee against Alexandra Albu. Now this fight is an interesting bout because Loma she's a legit Muay Thai kind of striker, coming over to the women's kind of side of things in MMA. Performed well. She's got a good skill set. She's got a very good striking asset about her. The only kind of negative about her is she was an atom weight, which is a 105, and she's going to a 115 in the weight class, because that's all there is with the UFC. But at the same time, she's more a publicity thing as well. If you look at where she's from that Asia area. They're going to Asia. It kind of works for them, having her on the card. But they're putting her up against Albu, which I was a bit surprised about, due to the fact that Albu's one of the bigger girls, probably at the 115. She's very strong. Thick set. Not the most technical fighter, Albu, but she can crack. She can hit hard. She can put good hits in. I think on the feet, it's going to be Loma who's going to be able to land more strikes. I don't think she's going to have the KO power on her, but I think Albu's going to be able to get the clinch work here and just out-strength her, get her on the ground and just grapple her. You know, get the strikes off in the first round maybe, but as soon as she gets it, one thing about Albu, she's got a good hip toss when she gets a headlock, and she's got a good flip, kind of head toss into kind of side control and scarf. This is where I think size will kind of come out here. I think if Angela Hill maybe fought Loma, I would probably give it a more kind of even looking fight. I just think size might play a factor here, size and strength. I'm going to go Albu decision. I just think she can out-muscle Loma, but I wouldn't be I'm not overly confident, but I think Loma might just get a bit outsized on this. For the first round, she might use speed and pace, but I think Albu can get hold of her and keep it down.
Yeah, it's like, even when you look at Lookboonmee, she's like really small for atomweight. Actually,
yeah.
There's actually fights out there you can watch her. She's made 96, which is like nothing. Like it's not a lot at all. So she's obviously a very, very kind of small girl. She's going to be at a strength disparity here. That's something I think Albu needs to try and use to her advantage. Personally, I think if she can get her in, thing is with this fight as well, she's definitely at a strength advantage, but she's going to have to get in close to do that. And when you've seen people getting close and Lookboonmee, she starts like devouring with a strike, especially in the clinch. Obviously, I think it's like over 250 fights. She's won. She's a 9-time like world Muay Thai kickboxing champion, whatever it may be. I remember looking at that. So she's won a lot of fights and she's had a lot of combat experience, far more than what Albu's actually had. But when you look at obviously UFC experience, it's pretty handily in the side of Albu. But I don't know. It's a tough fight for me to pick. I've been going back and forward. Initially, it was Lookboonmee, and then I still went to Albu. I've settled on Lookboonmee. I think she's going to. I think as Albu kind of enters into that kind of danger zone, she's going to start eating strikes. I think she will get her down. And what I've liked about Lookboonmee is she's like, when girls have tried to get in there, she's like quite dirty. She'll grab the fence, she'll elbow away, she'll toss girls to the side, and then once it's into that kind of striking sphere, like she's kind of well ahead of anybody she's ever really faced. Her only loss kind of came in like a scramble fest on the ground there, where she kind of got caught in a belly down armbar. But Albu, she takes a lot of strikes, and this is what I'm worried about, because that is obviously Loma is very, very quick with her striking. She's tiny, so she's going to be quick. It's all about whether Albu can get her down and keep her down. If she can keep her down, I think she wins the fight. I think she gets her down, but I think once it gets back up, she starts getting picked apart. So I've got Lookboonmee via probably a decision.
Okay, nice, bro. Next up in the heavyweight division, another pair of big boys thrown down. Sergei Pavlovich against Maurice Greene. Big Willie, what are you looking forward to in this one? Probably not a long fight.
I don't know. This one's intriguing me. I actually think for a heavyweight fight outside of the top 15, I don't think it's a badly matched fight, actually. I think that both guys, I think Pavlovich got really a bad end of the deal in his debut against Overeem.
That's rough, mate. That is rough, isn't it? Even though he had a good win streak on him, but even still. Yeah,
I don't understand why they throw him in there with Overeem. It makes no sense.
No.
You don't usually come into the UFC and face one of the, I don't want to say he's top 5, but he'll not be far off being a top 5.
One of the most decorated strikers in MMA history,
Exactly, yeah. And then they kind of match him up right the next time, and it's the same with Maurice Greene, where they matched him up a lot better in the fight. So that's what they should be doing, not just throwing him in with a guy who's won multiple world titles at pretty much every kind of organisation going nearly. So Marcelo Gane was never really UFC quality. He got him out of there really, really quick. When you look at his kind of resume, he fought some fairly decent guys. He's won a decision a few times. He's got some good finishes. Maurice Greene, I've never been really, really high in this guy, but you can what, I'll give him his dues. He looks in amazing shape. I was always put off with the guy in the Ultimate Fighter with the smoking, the drinking, the cussing, even though I'm Scottish and we cuss every second word, but just his kind of general kind of attitude and stuff, it was like he wasn't really taking it serious. And I thought when he went to the UFC, I thought he's going to lose fights because of that. But he seems like he's turned it around. He looks in great shape. He's fighting really well. Like I say, Junior Albini he just lacks head movement to the nth degree, and when you don't have head movement at heavyweight, that's not a good sign there. So, I mean, he's got 3 wins in the UFC. He's 3-0. He beat Bautista, beat Jeff Hughes, who before that beat him in a fight before they get to the UFC. So this is a good match making, in my opinion. There, I've got Pavlovich. I think overall as a fighter, I think more well-rounded. I think he's got more aspects to win the fight. Personally, I think he can strike with Maurice Greene, and that's where Maurice is probably one of the fighters keep on the feet and try and use. I think he's at a reach disadvantage in this fight here. So I think even though he's the bigger guy, he will look to try and get those kicks off and maybe keep Pavlovich at bay, because I think if he was to catch him up in a clinch, he could possibly start kind of winning rounds through that, put him against the cage, dirty him up, rough him up a little bit. I like Pavlovich quite a lot this week, but I think there's quite a lot of people that like Maurice Greene this week, so it's interesting. But I'm going to go Pavlovich, possibly via stoppage in the kind of middle to late part of this fight. I think Greene's improved himself kind of cardio-wise, where he's not going to be as easy to get out of there as maybe he once was. Yeah,
Greene has a good skill set. If he wants to use it, he could really use a lot better than he does. He's a big, tall, long guy. Jabs and straights would be a key thing for him, and his knees as well. Do you know when guys close distance in, throwing those shots to the knee, to the body? Sometimes I feel like he doesn't. He's got that tall kind of head movement, tall guy head movement, leaning back a little bit, which is sometimes a bit of a worry. I think that he could obviously do a lot more to improve himself. I just feel sometimes he lacks a little bit. Maybe like you say, maybe the kind of Ultimate Fight was him showing him true self, and there's a little bit like, not motivation, but willingness to critique himself to improve, so to speak. That's just obviously what we can see. We don't know how they edit it, so it's not fair of us to point that or pick him out in that kind of sense. I think Pavlovich here, the kind of way to win this fight is obviously get the fight to the ground. As a clear way to win, he could absolutely hurt Greene with the strikes. He hits hard. The guy hits in clusters as well. He doesn't throw one big heavy punch. He can throw like a cluster of kind of heavy shots in a row. I think that he should use that to his advantage. Back Maurice Greene up to the cage from the combinations, shoot, get the takedown in, use that single double leg takedowns that he's got and just get on top, get on top of Greene and start to use the power and really start to lay some heavy ground and pound on him. That's my method of how I would go about beating someone like Maurice Greene, just to kind of negate that advantage he has got with the reach, the legs, the head kicks and the front kicks. But I'm with you, Will. I kind of go with Sergei as well. I think that he's kind of got knockout power. He can hit really hard and really wobble you. Maurice Greene has a bit of pop in him, but I know he stopped Albini, but that was after a couple of strikes landed. So it wasn't the one punch that did it. It was a combination of shots that really rocked Albini, then he finished him off. I think Pavlovich could hit you once, and you could just be chicken dancing, hitting the floor. So I'm going to go with Pavlovich as well, bro. I think he'll get a stoppage. Next up we have this fight. Oh my goodness. So this fight in the featherweight division, Enrique Barzola against Movsar Evloev. Now, this fight meant to happen somewhere else, and it got moved. I'm sure it's got rescheduled.
I think Evloev had a fight, and he got pulled out, and then I think with
Grundy. He was meant to fight Grundy.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
There you go. So they give him pretty much a similar person in Barzola with the wrestling. That was it. Sorry, I knew there was something about it. So huge fight. Barzola. Obviously, we know that he's got the good wrestling. He's tried to experiment with his striking aspect in fights. It hasn't paid off to him in some extent when he should just go back to his bread and butter. But he's fighting a guy who I'm pretty high up on as well as Will is. I think Evloev is a ridiculously good talent, and he's going to be an absolute horror in this featherweight division. I think he's going to absolutely tear Barzola up. I think he's going to be able to get strikes away at him and the takedowns. I think Barzola, for me, sometimes has shown a little bit of slight cardio issues in the latter rounds. He does slow down. His output starts to decline. Evloev does not slow down. He kind of almost goes faster. I love Barzola. I think he's a good talented fighter. I think Evloev's just going to be able to outwork him, beat him to the punch, get the strikes, takedowns. The grappling exchanges are probably going to be fascinating to watch between these two. But mate, I'm going decision win Evloev if he doesn't get a stoppage. But I'm going to go kind of decision win Evloev here. I think he can absolutely go hell for leather and get a good heavy decision win here, man. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, it's a well-matched fight. I really like the fight, actually. I think it's two guys that push and push hard. And I think the first guy that kind of wilts under that is going to win the fight pretty much. When you look at Barzola, it's fairly obvious what he wants to do. He wants to take you down. You look at how many takedowns he's had in the UFC. Some of his fights he's had 10 takedowns, 7, 8 takedowns. It's crazy. But he's never faced anybody like Evloev. I think Bobby Moffat's a good grappler.
Yeah,
I think that was a good rebound after the Aguilar loss, where he couldn't take Aguilar down, and when he can't take you down, he's not going to outstrike you, especially with the power that Aguilar has. He's not. That stopped him from shooting. I think once he realised that he couldn't get Aguilar down, that he had to strike with him, and he was just at a disadvantage with power, and that's how he lost that one. Like I said, I think it was a good rebound fight against Moffat. When you look at Evloev, I kind of wax lyrical about some of these Russian guys with Sarukian and stuff like that. They came into the UFC, same event and so on. But this guy, he just does not stop with his grappling. He might not be successful the first time. He'll move around, he'll move position, he'll move his angles. He'll go from having his hands around your hips to going for dropping for a single leg. He's just a good chain wrestler, and he looks to do anything to try and get the fight to ground. Ankle pick, he will try loads of different things, but he's maybe never faced. I know he's fought a lot of decent guys in the regional Russian circuit, who you would think for the majority of their kind of fighting careers they're going to be grapplers as well coming up in Russia. But Barzola's good. He's scrappy, and if he can stuff takedowns, then it becomes interesting, because both guys aren't really known for their striking. so it could become a little bit of a striking battle. I just think Evloev's going to eventually, he's going to start getting that takedown, and I think once he gets it the first time, or maybe Barzola stops it, but once, like I say, once he starts getting them, I think that Barzola's going to be a little bit kind of discouraged by it, and he'll continue to get them. I don't think he'll keep him there that long. If he does, if he can get the back and stuff like that, there's an opportunity for a submission. But I think Evloev eventually is just going to catch him with these takedowns. And when I think it'll still be fairly close. Would it surprise me if Barzola got him down? No, because, like I say, a guy that's had probably well over 30, maybe close to 40 takedowns in the UFC, if he times it right, he could take Evloev down as well. But I've got Evloev over 15 kind of hard, grueling minutes in that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one to watch, actually. That one is really going to be interesting. Lightweight division next. Alex White taking on Rafael Fiziev. Now, I'm interested to see this fight because Rafael, he wanted to be a featherweight, didn't he? But I think he had a bit of issue trying to get down to that weight class. But Will, what are you looking forward to in this fight between these two guys, man?
Yeah, he's undersized, I think, for lightweight. I think 45 is his division. And when I look at him, when I look at his stature, when I look at his fights outside the UFC, like when you look at him, I think it was Road FC, a couple of fights, he was facing big Korean dudes there. Yeah. Like he was like tiny compared to those guys, but the one thing about Fiziev is his striking is really deadly. You watch a lot of his fights outside the UFC, you can't really take much from his debut because he just got pinged with a spinning back kick right to the chin, and that was enough. But he's got really fast hands, really fast combination striking, spins a lot. If he backs you up in the cage, then you're in trouble. So you have to kind of suckle off if you can. You have to try and stay in the centre of the octagon. He might have an advantage. I think he will have an advantage in this fight here over Alex White, striking-wise. But like I said, I just think he's at a little bit of a disadvantage with his size. And then with Alex White, like he's big.
Yeah.
Like, 5'8", Fiziev. I think he's stockier, he's stronger. So I think White can maybe clinch up with him, look to kind of use that. And we've seen that in some previous fights. The Lobov one, I know it's a different kind of caliber of kind of fighter. I think Fiziev to Lobov, like striking. But like grappling, I mean, Fiziev's not faced anybody decent outside his last guy, and he got starched by him. So when I look at Alex White, he's not really, when you watch his fights, he's not got many takedowns, and like he doesn't average that many over a 15-minute span either. But I think that's going to be his best path to victory, because if he stands with this guy, that's when he could, if he catches one half-decent shot, then Fiziev knows that he's kind of hurt. He's going to go after him with those combination striking. So I think he has to try and use his striking to get in, clinch up, maybe just rough him up, put him against the cage, and then try and get that takedown from there. But that's kind of where I see it. But Fiziev, I'm not sure about him. Like, I was fairly high on him when he came into the UFC, and I know that Mustafayev is a really good fighter as well. I think I was maybe looking too much into him being off a little bit too long, and I thought this is going to be a striking fight. I think it's going to be close, but it showed that Mustafayev was just a clearly faster striker than what Fiziev is, and that's weird because Fiziev's quick with his striking. I've got Alex White in this one here. I just think he's going to win over a hard 15 minutes. I think it's going to be very, very close. I think he's going to take some big licks in this one, but I think he comes through and ultimately wins the decision. So I've got Alex White for the W there.
Yeah, I'm with you in the pick. It's hard to pick which one of these is going to win because maybe Rafael was a bit tentative on his UFC debut. Maybe he felt a bit, bright lights. Maybe felt a bit unsure. Alex White, veteran, strong guy, tall guy, big guy. It's a hard one because I think that Alex White hasn't really beat high caliber guys when he fought them. He kind of falls short against the higher caliber fighters, but then when he fights the guys like your Mitch Clarks, your Artems, your Damarets, he does what he needs to do and beats them. But when he gets to guys who are a little bit better on a little bit a higher level than him, he has a bit of difficulty, whether it be decision. Even though he's losing decisions, he's not getting absolutely starched. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go for Rafael. I think that he will come out a bit more aggressive this time round, try to get the pace going, try to keep the output with the leg kicks, which he showed his leg kicks are sweet when he whip them in. I'm not sure Alex White's got the fight IQ to be smart and do grapple. Just grapple. Just do that. That's all he has to do is out-wrestle this dude for 3 rounds. Keep the guy on the ground. Don't let him throw stuff. But I think, obviously, when you go into the clinch work and the grappling aspect, Rafael's got the elbows and the knees and the body work. That he's got the trips as well, the clinch work. So, even though I'm not saying he's got the greatest grappling aspect on the ground, he's got the trips to get maybe on top to start from there to break. So I'm going to go crazy and go for Rafael with a decision win. I'm breaking my thought there because I was going to pick Alex White up until yesterday, and then I had a little quick check on footage again. I kind of just went, do you know what? I got to go Rafael. Go crazy, break it. Next up, we have in the women's strawweight division, Randa Markos against Ashley Yoder. I won't lie, not overly fussed about this fight, but it's happening. Randa Markos is the quintessential win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and then win one, lose one. She actually doesn't know what, apart from the start of her career, she doesn't know what 2 in a row is or 3 in a row. She's just so up and down. It's incredibly infuriating. Like, don't get me wrong, she loses close decisions, but I feel like she's not going to get any better than she is. She's not going to go any further than what she is. She's not going to improve. I think that she's evolved a little bit, but I don't think there's enough killer instinct in Randa Markos to make me go, yes, you. I'm going to go with Ashley Yoder, even though Ashley Yoder's not even actually beating anyone who's spectacular, so to speak. I think one of her stronger wins was Amber Brown in Invicta. But I just feel like maybe time does pass people, and with Randa being 34, I think it was, things do catch up with you. I think that Ashley Yoder might be just on a bit of a ride at the moment. Just a couple of wins in her, a little fight win streak, bit of confidence boost. Don't get me wrong, I'm not overly confident on this pick because I think it's kind of 50-50. I don't think either girls are super special. I think for Ronda to win this, she just needs to get Ashley Yoder down and keep it down and be heavy on the ground game, but and try to go for submissions really. But I think Ashley might be able to keep the fight standing for a bit and just land some better strikes. So I'm going to go Ashley, but trust me, not overly confident, not overly fussed, but it's happening.
Yeah, I'm not overly confident in my pick, and it's Randa Markos. So it's like I don't understand. I don't see how you can have like a supreme confidence and kind of really picking either girl here. Honestly, it's very, very low level. I think, like I said, I've always thought Randa Markos, if she could use her takedowns more, I think she's got a really strong takedown game and a bit of a fairly decent ground game. Yeah. But she barely uses it. Once she starts getting bopped up, she starts to really fire back and look to get those shots back. And like her record really says everything, especially in the UFC, where you're saying like win one, lose one, win one, lose one. She's got no consistency, so it's hard to really be consistent in this part, in this fight here. But she lost her last one, means that she's probably going to win this one. So I'll see if the streak kind of keeps on going, where she wins one and loses one. But like I said, I'm not super confident. I'm going to go with Randa via a decision, though. Yeah,
in theory, she should win. And let's go to the main card now, bro. With the welterweight division, Muslim Salikhov against Staropoli. Well, interesting welterweight fight. Two kind of opposing styles, but in the fact that one's uber aggressive and one's quite super aggressive, but doesn't throw it that much. He just times it. So, what are you looking forward to in this fight, bro?
It's a really good fight, but for the fact that it's going to probably be a stand-up fight, but you've got two different styles of the stand-up fight. You've got someone in Salikhov. I think it's a sniper. I think he's got really big, powerful shots. Picks his shots well. Doesn't really throw in combination too much, but like I say, the shots that he looks for is kill shots. And if he catches with him, I mean, that knockout at Taleb was filthy. That was a filthy knockout. I went with Taleb in that fight. I thought he's going to have more volume. I think he's going to land more, and he's not going to get caught. Well, that didn't really turn out to be that, because he got caught with a big shot and got sparked out really, really badly. When you look at Staropoli, all his fights have been on the feet, uber aggressive, a lot of strikes thrown. He's absorbed a lot of strikes. But when I look at this fight, of two strikers, I'm going to go with the cleaner striker, and that's Salikhov. I think he can counter the aggression of Staropoli, not easily, but I think he can definitely pick his shots with leg kicks, body kicks, spinning attacks is something that Salikhov's got really good attacks with. His spinning attacks, his body kick especially. But I think Laureano could start to question himself when he's coming in these combinations with the power that Salikhov's got. So I've got Muslim Salikhov. I was actually very, 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 very close to betting Staropoli, and then I decided, right, I'm going to go back and watch a couple more fights out of that guy, and I thought to myself, right, if this is going to be a stand-up fight, I'm going to go with the more decorated, more accurate precision striker and Salikhov, the kind of guy with the output and not really big knockout power. But he's going to have to engage, and I think he could get hit with a counter shot. So I can see him maybe possibly getting knocked out, but I've got Salikhov via decision.
Yeah, Staropoli, one thing that swayed me away from him was the Thiago Alves fight when he tried to mimic the stuff from the first round and the second round, and Thiago started to time it a bit better, started to get more counters in. So in the first round, Thiago was very tentative, watching the movements, and then the second round he started to throw a couple of counters to a handful of the moves that he was throwing. And I thought to myself, well, Thiago's not the knockout guy, so he's not really going to land heavy, but Salikhov is a heavy hitter. You know, he kind of can crack a good counter. But as well, Salikhov throws strikes like Staropoli with the kind of spinning stuff and movements, but just to a lesser extent, so that he will see and know that movement, so to speak. He'll have a bit more of an understanding of, cool, he's thrown something. He'll know where the movement's going to be, the body's going to be, where the fight is going to be when that happens. So that was kind of something that kind of swayed me over. I kind of thought he went to the well a bit too much, Staropoli, with the strikes, and he started to get caught. And I think Salikhov is the guy who will happily lose that first round to get the timings if he needs to. Then come the second round, start to apply his game. One thing with Staropoli as well, he does switch stances a lot, but what he does, all his big attacks come from the left southpaw stance. So what he'll do is he'll do the big southpaw stance movements, and so that's something you can note as well as a striker. When he's in his orthodox stance, the big movements aren't going to come from there, so you wait till he's in the southpaw, that's when he's going to throw his movements, cut the angle to come with a counter strike, or throw a big overhand right as he's jumping into you. I think that's something that Salikhov will do. I think he'll be patient, he'll be happy to wait, and then he'll just whip in a heavy shot, whether it be a head kick or a punch, but he's going to crack a low number of volume shots, but with great accuracy, like you said, Will. So I'm going to Salikhov as well, with probably a stoppage at some point in the fight. I think he hits that kind of hard. He doesn't look like that kind of guy, but he just is one of those guys. It just hits weirdly powerful. Another heavyweight fight, the kind of hype train that I'm getting the feeling is going to happen here with this guy, because it's what the UFC like to do, with Cyril Gane against Dontel Mays. Now, Gane is a very good fighter in the sense of he's got a lot of potential for the heavyweight division. He shows good footwork, he shows good options where he can take you down, he can punch you, etc. So he's not a one-trick pony where he'll just throw a big punch and that's it, I'll knock you out. He's got a bit more in his arsenal, which is something I give credit to. To be fair, though, I think he's got a bloody hard fight here. I think people are going to write off Dontel and not think he's that good. He's big lad, 6'6". One fight I probably implore people to watch is the Muhammad Usman fight that he had in Victory FC. He showed great takedown defense against Muhammad Usman, who looks like he eats gorillas. Like, the dude is jacked. Usman's brother, jacked. Not sure how natural it is, but dude is ridiculously stacked. Showed good control, good takedown defense, and his output was okay. That's my only worry with him. He's got great takedown defense. His striking is a little bit questionable for me. I find that he needs to tidy up his striking a lot more. He sometimes throws loose strikes where the hands aren't maybe coming back where they should, or he's kind of not expecting a counter strike to come back. Where this fight, I think it'll be a lot tougher than Gane's debut. I think it'll be a tougher fight, Mays. But I think Gane should win the fight. I think he's a lot more kind of explosive. He's got a lot more kind of weapons with his striking. He's a bit more kind of unpredictable for every week. The way he moves, the footwork. So I'm going to go with Gane to win, but I think people might underestimate Dontel and think it's maybe a gimme, but it's not. It's going to be a hard fight. It's going to be a good fight, and Dontel's got some good experience under his belt too.
Yeah, well, he's got the 2 fights in the Contender Series that he had,
Yeah.
and like you said, Mohammed Usman as well before that. So he's got some decent experience against some not top-notch guys, but
No.
probably better than what Cyril Gane's fought, to be honest with you. So I do, like, when Cyril came into the UFC, I was a little bit, I'm not sure about this guy, I'm really not, but when I seen him in his UFC debut, you can see that I think there's a very high ceiling for him. I think that he can progress a lot. I love his light footwork, I like his shot selection. I like his feints. I like I said, I'm waiting to see more of him against better opposition. Now I think this Dontel Mays is better than what Pessoa was. I didn't see Gane coming out and submitting Pessoa last time. I did not see that happen at all. But it's shown that he's got more wrinkles to his game. He's not just working on the one thing. He's mixing it all up. And if I'm the UFC, I try to protect this Cyril Gane and kind of matchmake him up pretty decently for the fact that the UFC next year, Dana's come out and saying that they're going to France. He's going to be a chip in that French market. It's a guy that they can ultimately build up to being that guy that's coming out of Europe and France. And like I say, I don't know when they're going to go to France, but if it's early on in next year, this is a perfect time for him to kind of rebound after if he wins this fight. I just think he's a little bit... I think he's decent enough to beat Dontel Mays. I think Mays, maybe the bright lights maybe shows up on him a little bit here, and he's going all the way out to Singapore, which is probably a big thing for him. I don't think he's ever fought outside the US, so yeah. I've got the cleaner striking of Cyril Gane, but I think Dontel Mays should try and maybe clinch him up a little bit, make it dirty, and try and win the fight through that. But I struggle to see past Cyril Gane, in my opinion, so I've got him via TKO.
Nice. Next up, we have an interesting fight, though, Will. Frank, never in a boring fight, Camacho against Beneil Dariush in the lightweight division. Will, what are you looking forward to on this? Because it's a bloody going to be an entertaining fight, mate.
Yeah, like you say, when I look at this matchup, I'm seeing a lot of love for Frank Camacho, and I'm like, I'm really, like, as a well-rounded mixed martial artist, I think Beneil Dariush absolutely rinses him.
Tenfold, yeah.
Yeah, but Dariush cannot take a shot. And what's Frank Camacho got? Big power. So it's risky in that aspect. Like I say, when you look across the board, there's far more thumbs up for Dariush than there is Camacho. But it all comes down to the chin. If he can't take a shot, then he's going to be in deep doo-doo. And Frank Camacho comes, he never stops coming with big shots. But we've seen what I've liked from Dariush in his last 2 fights is he's realised that I really can't stand with guys anymore. My chin is bad, it's withering. So I'm going to take you down. And he's got a really good takedown game. He's got a really good pressure game on top. And then on top of that, he's got a submission game as well. So I think those 3 things, the pressure, the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, are what wins him this fight, because he doesn't want to stand up with someone like Frank Camacho for too long, because the longer he does that, the much higher chance that he's going to get clipped. And it doesn't even have to be a big shot, I don't think, to hurt Dariush. And Dariush, when he came through that fight, taking a few hits off Dober last time, he seemed to say, my chin held up, and I was like, dude, you can't stand and take shots anymore. Like, I don't care who you're against. You could get knocked out by a very, very little shot or get rocked, and that's going to be the end of the fight. But I've liked what I've seen. I've bet him these last 2 fights by him fighting kind of smart and fighting to advantages that he's got, and he's got those advantages against Frank Camacho here. Camacho beat Nick Hine last time. Nick Hine's retired now. I think that was an easy fight for him. Even he was an underdog in that fight, which was weird to me. Far too heavy a striker for Nick Hine. Could stop the takedowns for the most part. He did get taken down the one time, but for me, I'm going to go Beneil Dariush for a submission here. I keep hearing that Frank Camacho's a black belt, which surprises me personally. But I think, obviously, doesn't matter what it is, there's levels to being a black belt. I think Beneil Dariush has fought a lot of the top guys. He's fought Kron Gracie in Jiu-Jitsu, and Dorino Burns, I think, is another guy he's faced. So he's fought a lot of good guys on the mats, and he's a a fairly high level black belt himself. So I've got Beneil Dariush via submission, probably late second, early third round here, but just don't get caught. If he fights smart, he wins this fight 99 out of 100 times. But if he comes out there and decides to trade with Frank's going to nail him right on the chin, and that's going to be the end of it.
Yeah, he won grappling competition as well,
Yeah,
like Pan Am or something like that. He's like legit grappling competition, not like just a wishy-washy one that you can find anywhere on a local scene, like a legit grappling competition. So he has got those credentials where he got, not only did he get his black belt, he put his black belt effort against guys who are of that caliber. So that's always a huge thing, I find. Yeah, Beneil, he's learned, I think, because under Rafael Cordero, he learned striking. And he did look good at striking, don't get me wrong. Beneil's striking has come on tenfold, mate, hasn't, let's be honest. Like, huge improvements since he first started with Rafael Cordero. But again, a lot of the guys do that. They improve their striking, then they fall in love with it. So then they forget what their bread and butter is. It's all nice hitting someone in the face and it feels good. But suddenly, if you think, if I take the ground and choke you, I could do that a lot easier. You probably should. And I think Beneil's going to be smart with this fight again. I think he's just going to... I think Beneil's a clever person anyway. I don't think he's a dumb fighter. I think he is quite smart and cerebral. I think he's got good coaching around him. I think Rafael's kind of even said, look, bait Frank in. Start the fight standing. A couple of strikes, blah, blah, blah. Because Frank likes to come forward and aggressive. Likes to throw heavy and aggressive, which is open and susceptible to the takedown itself. So I wouldn't be surprised if... Beneil just kind of baits him in and gets a takedown and gets the submission in. Just has to be careful of Frank's hit. Frank's power. Frank did look good against Nick Hine. He looked like he paced himself a bit better with his shots. Picked him a little better. Didn't just throw heavy the whole first round. He paced himself. Good body shots as well. Frank showed in that fight as well. So he has shown an evolution in his striking as well, where he too is a bit more placement with his strikes, but Nick Hine, I think, is an easier target, so to speak, than Beneil. I think Beneil can offer a bit more in a striking kind of return if he was to strike back with Frank even. But I'm going to go as well with Beneil. I just kind of feel all round he should win this fight. He should be the all round kind of stronger fighter in this. Next up we have, though, co-main event. I wonder if Will is going to be biased in his decision. So, we have Michael Johnson up against Stevie Ray in a lightweight division. Stevie Ray and Michael Johnson, interesting fight in the lightweight division. Michael Johnson, who has been in the UFC for, I don't know, forever, is it? Kind of coming back to 155. Maybe he feels that 145 did fit him, but maybe his body didn't fit well into it. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable doing the 145 cut. I don't know. Obviously, he got knocked out by Josh Emmett. He has taken, 7 months off or something like that? He's had 7 months off since he last fought, so that's a good period of time. But one thing you can always count on Michael Johnson, he has got a wicked, super fast 1-2 combination. His hands are fire. Like, when he lands and he starts to get a bit of a groove going, he's a pain to stop. He's hard to stop. Like that Josh Emmett fight, he was winning that fight. Up until that bloody punch. Owning it. He had that. He looked so damn good in that fight as well. Like, absolutely spot on. Super impressive. Owned the fight. Went on and did great. Did the right thing. Took the time off. Maybe doing the 155. Maybe he might stick at 155, Michael. We don't know. I don't know if he's doing this as maybe just have one fight at 155 and do 145 again. I don't know. But Stevie Ray only just recently had that fight. Wasn't that long ago. Against that Santos fight. And that was a pretty rough knockout. Man, he got murked hard in that round. June. So what's that? So June, that's 6. So 4 months. About 4 months or so, is it? Off the top of my head, yeah? Yeah, Stevie got murked in that fight. Man, that was a hell of a counter strike by Santos. Stevie looks always good. Stevie always is in great shape, though. He's always in great condition. Maybe he feels he can come back and he feels good and fresh. I just think, well, if you just had that knockout, how long were you off before you start sparring again? How hard have you been sparring, etc.? For Stevie to win, I think Stevie should just go to his grappling. Stevie's got good grappling. He's a good grappler. He's got good takedowns. He's strong. He's got good takedown offense. Michael Johnson has shown that he's not too bad and at the start of a fight, but he can get taken down and kept down, when it gets to the later rounds. And Michael Johnson's always kind of had that fault with him. Stevie Ray just has to go with there, but I don't know if he will. I don't know if Stevie Ray is going to switch to the grappling. I think Stevie Ray as well, with his in and out movement, he's open to that counter, that 1-2 from Michael Johnson. It just irks me a little bit that Stevie came back a bit quick for my liking. So I'm going to go Michael Johnson. I love Stevie Ray. I hate saying it, but I'm going to go Michael Johnson just for a couple of little things. So I'm going Michael Johnson for the win. Do not hate me, Will.
No, I'm with you. I think it's a bad matchup for him personally. When I look at it, I think the where he has an advantage is his submission grappling, but he's got to take down a kind of lifelong wrestler and Michael Johnson to get it there.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm a little bit worried about, because on the feet he's a far slower striker than what Michael Johnson is, and his combination striking isn't on the level of what Michael Johnson is. So on the feet he's at an disadvantage in my opinion. Speed wise. Striking choice wise, just as a striker, he is at a disadvantage here. Then you've got the wrestling, and Michael Johnson's never really been the most. He's never really showed his wrestling all that much throughout his UFC career. It's kind of crazy to me. I was just looking at while you were talking that he's been in the UFC for 9 years. 2010, I was like, gee, a lot of fights, and a lot of fights against high caliber guys. Let's put that out there. Far high caliber than what Stevie's faced. I mean, he was winning that Josh Emmett fight handily.
Yeah.
He made a stupid mistake. He could have danced around for the next minute, and he wins that fight. He gets his chin absolutely annihilated by Josh Emmett. But Josh Emmett can do that to people if you give him the slightest opportunity. Then he won that fight with Artem, where he really just outstruck him, got takedown, was just dominant. Beat Feely, was a little bit... I thought Philly was a little bit unlucky to kind of lose that fight personally, but then you look at the fights before that, Elkins, Gaethje, Khabib, the guys face like super high level guys. Like I say, Stevie I think's got an opportunity if he can find a way to be in a position where he's superior here with his submission grappling, because he's been doing Polaris and stuff like that as well. Looking at his new gym that's not long been opened last year or whatever, he's got a lot of kind of jits guy coming through there. He has a lot of seminars with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts that come in there. So, I mean, that submission of Paddy Pimblett was sick.
Yeah, heel hook was nice.
Popped the knee of Paddy Pimblett, I think it wasn't it? Was it a heel hook?
Yeah, heel hook, yeah. Failed the entry on the first attempt, re-entry, got the hook in.
Yeah, and that was nasty, because I think that injured Paddy a little bit as well, which is not great, but he's got a fight coming up, so it couldn't have been that bad. I just think it's a bad fight for Stevie. Of course, we want Stevie to win. I want Stevie to win, being both those
fellow jock.
Events I've spoken from. Yeah, and like he's called me out and things before with me picking against him. That's the kind of thing we make in somebody. Sometimes they'll call you out and you're like, oh. But just my perspective on the fights. I say it every time. I hope you win the fight. I'm rooting for you, but I think it's just a bad matchup for him. I think MJ could maybe knock him out, or at least kind of beat him up for 3 rounds in a 30-27 decision. But I've got Michael Johnson for the win.
Okay, nice, bro. And then next up, finally, the main event. The striking for Bonanza that we have before us in Demian Maia versus Ben Askren. 5-round welterweight fight. Will, I know you can't wait to see the spinning heel kicks and everything these boys are going to throw.
It's a really hard, like, you can watch, I watched lots of fights in these two, more kind of on the Askren side, because you can remember things that Maia does, and he's been around kind of more prevalent than what Askren is. But it's such a hard fight to really look into and like have any strong bias with it, and like think this guy is going to win, that guy's going to win. We'll talk about Ben Askren's entry to the UFC. It's not been what he'd hoped. He kind of got pieced up a little bit by Robbie Lawler before somehow finishing him in a submission in the first, and then there was the Masvidal incident where he's the recipient of the fastest knockout in UFC history. So it's been a tough introduction to the UFC, but you've got a guy here who's nowhere near as dangerous as them two guys in the feet. But when you look at Maia, he's probably got the striking advantage here. Has he ever had a fight where he's had a striking advantage? Never. But when he uses it sometimes, Demian Maia, I mean, you look at the Covington fight, the first one there, that might have been a little bit of kind of gamesmanship on Covington's side because he was tired after that first round. He was absolutely knackered, and then Covington really just had his way with him the next 2 rounds and beat him fairly convincingly. But I don't think he's ever been in a fight where he's had a striking advantage, and he's clearly, I think, got one here. You've got obviously the elite wrestler with the elite jiu-jitsu guy. So it's like, what's going to happen? Because Ben Askren, I don't see Ben Askren standing up and trading. He's going to want to look for takedowns. It's what he does. It's what he's always did.
Yeah.
You look at his resume, you're like, what kind of high-level black belts has he faced? And there's Luis Santos that he faced in one. But he's a guy with very dangerous jiu-jitsu skills, but he strikes more than anything. He doesn't really use his jiu-jitsu, which is weird. But Maia, you're thinking, right, how does he get the fight to where he wants to get it? Because he's the type of guy that will ride out the back, will ride out top position. Like, if he gets you down once, or he gets you back once, that round's pretty much done. Can Ben Askren do that in the wrestling department? I think he probably could, but I think Maia's more tricky on the ground. I think he's going to have passes, he's going to have sweeps, reversals, ready and waiting for someone like Ben Askren. I just don't see him being like underneath asking for super long amounts of times during the fight. He might be one of these things that might clinch up. He might flop to his back. That's something I can see Maia doing. But once he starts getting a position where he maybe gets the back or a side control, it's going to be hard for someone like Askren to get out of there. And it's going to be interesting to see him actually on the ground if Maia's on top of him. Because then he's probably never faced a guy like Maia who's... He always finds a way to mount. He always finds a way to get the back. It's just, if he doesn't... If the fights that he loses, he kind of loses fairly dominantly. The people that face him, they kind of strike with him. They stuff all of his takedowns like Woodley did. But you're not going to... Ben Askren's not going to outstrike him here. So it's like... I find it hard to pick this fight, personally. I just think there's... not unless you're like super knowledgeable in the grappling, and I've watched enough grappling, and you know both guys are good at it, but it's like, could you see Ben Askren being dominant over a 25-minute period? I think for parts of the fight he could be, but I don't see it being there. I can see Maia having large portions of the fight where he's got a position, because once he gets that position, you don't get him off you. Look at the Masvidal fight where he just really hung in Masvidal's back for 2 rounds. Yeah. And that's enough to win the fight for him.
Yeah.
Get tired, but at least you're in his realm of grappling. And Ben Askren is going to want that as well. So it's like, it's an interesting fight, super intriguing fight. I'm going to go with Demian Maia. I think that he's going to sub him, actually. I think there's going to be a part here where they're going to be scrambling. And Demian Maia, I do think he's got reversals. I do think he's got sweeps that Ben Askren's not going to know about. And once he gets the position to get a submission, I think that Askren will end up tapping. I don't think he's had a guy like Maia on his back. And I think it's weird. It's a kind of good fight for both guys. But it's just a fucking weird fight to pick, in my opinion. I've struggled with it when I was watching it. But I'm intrigued to watch it. But I think Demian Maia is in my opinion, is the pick to make as well. He's quite a big underdog, which surprises me. So I think
a lot of money's come in for Askren, possibly.
Yeah, lots of money's come in on Askren in the last couple of days, which surprised me big time. So I've got Demian Maia. I just think he's going to find a way to get a submission here and hand Ben Askren another loss in the UFC. So I've got the Jits wins over the wrestler.
Yeah, it is super interesting, like you said, Will. I think that Maia's actually going to have a lot more success on the feet than people think. I think he's going to be on the feet for a lot longer. Because Maia's good at reading people that are coming in for takedowns. You know, he's used to it, and he's very good at negating and stopping and cancelling takedowns. He's very good at reversals. I think
people forget just how elite Demian Maia is as well.
He's
insanely
elite. Like, even at middleweight, he was a motherfucking middleweight. People couldn't get him off in middleweight. Never mind welterweight, and he's still quite a big, strong guy. In welterweight, he's super strong. Like, dude is nasty. Like, gosh, he fought some big dudes as well in that weight class, and he had a good performances against them all. So, you know, like, he is a tough dude to fight. You know, when when he fights, he's smart. He's kind of precise with his movements. And I think he'll do well. I think he'll do well on the stand-up. I think he'll do a lot. He'll surprise a lot of people on the stand-up. Ben Askren. I think Ben Askren's got to be careful, really careful, in the fact that when he goes for his takedowns, Demian Maia might actually be smart enough and use the momentum as a sweep. So when he goes for the takedowns, as he falls on his back, you use your hips, you use the movement, and you roll. You kind of continue the movement over to reverse it. Maia's really good at that. He did it against Rocco in the last fight as well. Beautiful reversal takedown. He kind of pulled him into guard, and he kind of pulled it into guard and sweeped him over. It was so nice. Oh my gosh, it was such a beautiful butterfly sweep. Yeah, Askren, when he gets on top, he has to make sure he has the underhook battle won. So he has to win the underhook battle to kind of pin down at least the arm position. But the hips of Demian Maia is going to be a problem. Damian's very patient. He doesn't panic too much on his back as well, Maia. He's very good at explosive movement, getting the hips and twisting and moving and getting away. I think Askren's got to kind of do so much in this fight to keep Maia still. I don't know if he will. Gosh, I'm trying to figure kind of positions and scenarios where Ben Askren, when he gets on top, like side control for Ben Askren would be good, but Demian Maia still could even use that as a reversal and sweep positions from there. If I'm Askren, it's not an easy fight at all, because I know he's training with good guys at his gym, but Demian Maia's he's just a caliber above anything. Like, you watch him against, the best one's Gunner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone thought that was going to be a close grappling fest, and he picked Gunner apart like an amateur. It was disgusting to watch. Like, that fight alone, Will, is kind of symbolic to me, because I thought, well, if he's a high-level grappler, Gunner, and Ben Askren's a high-level grappler and wrestler, I don't really think it matters. But I think Ben can have moments. I'm with you, Will. I do think he can have moments where he can get on top, and Demian Maia might use that as a rest period, so to speak.
It's one of, like, Ben Askren's always going to be in danger in this fight, no matter where the fight is, if it's on the ground, because he could one wrong move and
chokes, leg locks a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely, he's always in danger. That's the point I'm trying to make there. He's always going to be in danger as long as this fight's on the ground. So yeah.
And he doesn't want to be on the feet because he can't use it.
Yeah,
because he got nice nothing. I swear, if this turned out to a 5-round stand-up war, that would be the most. That'd be the funniest thing ever. It would be the worst advertisement for the UFC, but it would be hilarious. I'm going Demian Maia as well, bro. I think he has got the skill set in him. I think he could catch Ben Askren later on in the round. With a takedown attempt, sweep into a guillotine or something, and that squeeze on Demian Maia is gnarly, man. He gets anyone to tap with that squeeze. So I'm with you, bro. I legit think Demian Maia can do this. So that's our picks for the fight card, UFC Singapore. Put your picks below. Let us know who you're picking, and we'll love to hear back from you all. We're going to go now to Will's bets. Will, what are you thinking? You said you put some bets on. What are you looking at? Let us hear, bro.
Yeah, I've only got the one bet, but I've got another two in mind that I'm just going to wait and see how the line kind of plays out over the next couple of days. I'm going to bet Demian Maia. I have not bet him yet, but I think the line for him right now is minus 185 Ben Askren, plus 160 Demian Maia. That was minus 200 for Ben Askren yesterday, so money's started to come in a little bit in Maia. But that's kind of crazy to me that he's plus 160 here. Like, I've for me, when I look at this fight, I'm like thinking, this is a pick and fight. There's no humongous favourite. So the fact that Maia's that big an underdog, I think, is just playing into having a shot on a really good, superior ground fighter. Not superior, a superior against most guys. Maybe not Ben Askren, but a very, very good chance of getting a submission there. So I'll probably end up playing Demian Maia. The one play that I do have is a parlay of Sergei Pavlovich and Movsar Evloev. It was one that I put on relatively quick. I thought I quite liked the line. I thought the lines were going to change, and they did on both sides. Yeah, both sides, because I got Pavlovich at minus 200 and I got Evloev minus 160. So it comes to about plus 142. Now Evloev's minus 190, Pavlovich is minus 230. So I did beat the lines there on that one. But again, it's only Monday, so they could change as the week goes on. I think there will be money that actually comes in Maurice Greene as the was on, because I think he's a viable dog and he's looked good. He looks in great shape. I just prefer Pavlovich in that one. The other line that I kind of liked initially was Lookboonmee, But then I sat back and I was like, she was an underdog at that time. She's now the favourite. But it's like two girls that are very, very inexperienced, and you can't trust putting your money in either one of them. So I backed off that. The other one which I do like, which is a bit of a different line over here in the UK at the minute, is Beneil Dariush. In America, he's minus 150. In the UK, he's minus 130. Where Camacho's plus 130 on both sides of the Atlantic, to say the least. I just struggle. I know outside of the chin thing, there is this.
He should win.
Yeah, he should win. The narrative is that he should be better in a lot more places in this fight than not pretty much. So the three bets I've got obviously the parlay. Demian Maia is definitely going to be a bet of mine, and Beneil Dariush is another guy that I think I will bet. I bet him in his last two fights. A little bit sketchy last time out, but he got it done. In the Moises fight, he fought beautifully. But yeah, it's not the easiest card for betting. There's not many dogs you can have supreme confidence in. Like, we're talking about Stevie, and I said he's got a bad matchup, but he's like, Michael Johnson is minus 345. I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be that big. That's a little bit off, and Stevie's plus 285. But I can see why it's escalated, but it's just too high in my opinion there. But it's a tough fight to bet, to look at. So I'll not be having all that many plays this week, and I'm kind of more looking into 244 next week, which the betting lines are out for that, and there's a lot of tasty lines, there's a lot of tasty fights. That card's just, oh, Jesus Christ, that's an unbelievably good card. It's not, looking at it now, I don't think there's really a bad fight amongst them, so maybe Maia Chukagian's one that's probably a bit meh, but
Chukagian's fighting anyway.
Yeah, there's more fights on that card that are absolutely incredible. It's going to be a lot of exciting moments during that fight card. So I'm looking forward to talking that one next week. That's going to be a good one to break down.
Yeah, that is, like we said, next week. That is going to be sick. That is going to be insane. So as you all know, it's the Diaz Masvidal fight card, and that's going to be insane to talk about. So join us then. But before we all go, hit that sub button, give us your bets, join the conversation. Lots of love. Speak soon.